Sounds good.
Okay.
And we are live with the one and only James Lloyd Dulin. He has done something that I am very, very jealous of. He has finished a series.
And he has hair on the top of his head. So.
Well, okay, just one thing at a time. So that could be, spiteful over. James, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. It's been a while since we talked. What did we talk? What, a year ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that when your second book came out, or was it still just the first?
I don't even know if that was specifically with a release, because I was really not good with like trying to organize media around book releases before. So this is
now you're
a new
stellar
venture
at it.
trying
You've
to
got
get
it all
this
sorted
together.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
I would love to say yes, you have it all sorted out, but you're here again. So obviously you have skipped a few things.
It's all practice. It's all learning. Maybe next time I can get a podcast or something that has some real gravitas to it.
Yeah. I don't think it should. It shouldn't take long to find. You did well at setting the bar, and then just being able to get those little incremental gains.
Yeah, if you try too hard the first time, beating your record is it's difficult.
Right? See, I never understand that. People always want to get up and hit a home run, and then it's like if you do, you're just going to fail all the time after that, right?
Do you have like a lot of most improved trophies?
No, I'm just not that good.
And we were before the everyone gets a trophy generation, so
that's right.
Yeah.
You want a trophy? You earn it, damn it. Go eat your freaking orange slices.
So, James, we should probably get you to show us your book cover before we forget.
So I got a few back here.
Good.
I don't have the third book cover yet because I still haven't gotten those orders. But this is No Heart for a Thief. This is the first book in my Malitu series.
How many books in the series?
It's a 3-book series with one novella. No Safe Haven is the second book. My prequel novella is Don't Bloody the Black Flag. And then coming out June 24th is Only a Grave Will Do. And so I will be officially completing the Malitu series and moving on to other things, other projects.
You have the best titles, by the way.
Right.
Thank you.
I mean, they're a little long. How do those go down in your focus groups?
Maybe I need more focus groups. But when I was writing the first book, there's a saying in world that is no heart for a thief, no safe haven, only a grave will do. And it's all talking about these kind of outcasts that are the spirit thieves. So I was like, hey, those will do as titles. So a title reveal never really worked for the series because everybody's like, after the first one, you get what the second and the third are going to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that works out nice. That's like a big load off you right there. It's like if you know that going in.
I do not have audiobooks, unfortunately.
Hitting us up with questions like before the 4-minute mark. Are audiobooks in your plans?
If my finances work out that way, yes. Unfortunately, audiobooks are just a very big expense, and when I do audiobooks, I really want to do them right. So hopefully we get there.
So I'm actually having Andrew Meredith do my Haley Traveler because I have boring book titles. Haley Traveler, what does that mean? You have to read the book to find out.
Sounds like a cozy travel log.
Cozy sci-fi travelogue, yeah. That's what the science fiction competition called my book. I mean, at one point, my character grabs a guy by the back of the hair, pulls his head back, puts a gun to his forehead, and shoots him. But it's a cozy travelogue, according to the sci-fi.
Everything's relative.
Let's see. EL, of course, is right focused on your artwork in the back.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
We got that at a what's Salvation Army or something like that. If you go to the secondhand stores in rich areas, you get some nice stuff. So we went a couple towns over to a nice Goodwill and got some artwork.
Yeah, you're in Connecticut, absolutely.
Yes, there's plenty
No
of rich
dogs
towns
playing poker there, by God.
Ooh. So tell us about your series, because we'll get off on tangents here really quick and talk about the Brooklyn Bridge again.
Yeah, tangents are the fun part. So my series follows a character named Kalo, who is this recluse.
Hold on, I got to stop you.
Yeah.
What's the character's name?
Kalo.
Spell it.
Kaylo.
Son of a bitch.
What?
Okay. Mike just got the first few chapters of my book that I just finished, and I have a character named Kalo.
Oh, really?
But with a C. Caylo. I'm not going to change it. She's a female. No one's going to read it anyway. It's fine. Okay. Sorry.
We all make up names, and I'm sure we've all like duplicated names several times, so it's no big worries.
Yeah.
So
Kalo's this recluse, kind of jaded warrior who has abandoned his cause, and against his better judgment, he runs in to save this girl who's being chased by some Imperial soldiers. And doing so gets him dragged back into all the mess that he left behind in his life. So as a way to try to keep this young girl, Tayan, from following in his footsteps and messing things up like he did, he tries to tell her his story and train her. And so the story is told in two parts. It's Kalo's backstory, him telling Tayan all about his life and where he got and how he got to where he is. And then it is the story of Tayan and Kalo kind of trying to survive this colonial occupation of their land.
Cool. So before I forget, your first book, the cover, who did the artwork?
Yeah, I was going to ask who did the covers. Yeah.
So this was done by Felix Ortiz. No Heart for a Thief.
Yeah.
He did an amazing job. And then because he got so booked, I had to move on to another artist. And we have Martin Monette, who also has done a very good job with these covers. And so Martin also did the cover for Only a Grave Will Do, which may be my favorite cover of the four books.
And you don't have a copy of that we can see?
I don't because I don't have any prints of it yet. I just did the release at the beginning of this month with the cover. So still working on getting a copy of it.
All right. Be like that. Come in here and tease us with a new book and then not even show us the cover.
I know, right? It's a very mean thing to do.
So do you know what, so after this book is released June 24th, you said?
Yep.
Do you know what you're doing next, or are you just kind of going to free up some time to think about something new and different?
I have been thinking about another series for, oh, there we go. Yep, that's the cover for book 3.
Look at you.
I thought you said you didn't know how to do anything in technology.
Yeah, well, I always grab people's covers for the thumbnail, so I know how to do this.
Mike is a Renaissance man. He's learned so much in the last 2 years. It's kind of crazy.
Said everyone's thing. I take 3 book covers, no matter if they have 1 or 16 books. I choose 3, and 1, 2, 3, and I put your face over top of it. I slap the Bald&Balding logo, and done.
It's called efficiency.
Yeah,
you got it. But as far as what happens after, I've been working on or kind of thinking about a series for the last year and a half as I've been finishing up this trilogy. And And I was really inspired by the show Arcane on Netflix. And I wanted to do something in that theme, that style, that kind of that vibe of a book. And so I've just been thinking about what that would look like. And in between, when I had Only a Grave Will Do at beta readers or with editors, I've been kind of plotting that out and seeing what it would look like to put that book together.
No. I hate everything Apple.
So you don't have like a very definitive plan right now. It's just kind of coalescing.
No, I have a series plotted out, loosely
Right.
plotted out, and the first book pretty well plotted out. So I don't know how long I'm going to take to work on it. It's definitely so Malitu is more of an intimate story. It's very close POV, very intimate, even though there's big wars going on in the background and people fighting for power. This is really the story of Kalo and Tayan, and it is very close up on their experiences. The next story I want to write is more epic in many different ways. We'll deal with much more powerful beings, magic systems that are far grander and more explosive and things like that. So I'm going to have to figure out what that looks like in terms of page count, because I don't want it to creep up too far, but I think it will be, it might be a little bit thicker of a read.
So EL wants to know what the chances are that their story will get a second life down the road.
I have a plan, or a loose plan, for another series that lives in the same world. It would not be following the same characters. It would be an offshoot exploring different parts of this world, and building on the magic system, building on the history of the colonial empire, the Gauche that exist in the first trilogy. And so exploring that in a different way. So I have a loose plan on that. I don't think you ever say never about returning to characters or anything like, or something that might tell more of a story. But at this point, I don't have a plan to return to the characters in this book.
I think returning to characters and even worlds is one of those things that if you're selling 1 million copies and making that your financial life, I'll go back to that well as often as people want it.
Yeah.
I will sit there and write nothing but that until the end of my days.
I'll be
even
Terry
finish
Brooks.
the series,
Yeah.
But if you're not, go try something new. You're doing it for fun anyway, essentially. So just try other experiences.
I think one thing I learned about myself as a writer is that it was hard to keep myself focused on one story. And I see other authors who do like the first book of one trilogy and the first book of one quartet, and then bounce back and forth. And I might try something like that, something where I get to I get to miss the world and the characters a little bit more before I have to return to it, instead of feeling like I gotta get this out. I have a specific timeline. If they pay me a lot of money, I will do that. But maybe I'll bounce around a little bit more while I'm having some fun.
I tell you what, James, I wrote 2 novellas and 9 books in the same world.
Yeah.
And I just said, I'm going to take a break and do something different, which is the one that Mike's reading now, which hopefully will be out this summer.
Okay.
And then I'll go back and do the next book in the series. And it has been a great year, because the entire year I'm not like thinking about it a lot, but the thought comes up every now and then, right? You're just kind of walking along or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And something about that story you put aside for a year kind of pops in, and you go, oh yeah, that would work well. But you're not giving a lot of thought to it, right? So it's not like exercising that part of your brain, right? You're still thinking about the book you're actually writing, but the other one just kind of intrudes every now and then. it's really nice. And I think that's what I'm going to end up doing, is just kind of going back and forth.
I think that will kind of feed my creativity a little bit more.
Yeah, I think
and that's what I've been doing the last year and a half, in terms of like, it's the opposite. I'm working on my main series, but every so often I'll have a thought on this other series that I want to write. I'll make some notes, I'll add it into the files, I'll think about how that fits in. And it's just so much more fun to be able to play around with multiple projects at a time.
Yeah. And so the thing is, though, James, you're going to get there and you're going to say, oh, I'm really happy with this. And then you're going to give it to someone to read and they're going to say, so when does the book start? I'm 2 chapters in. When does anything happen? Right, Mike?
Who would have said that? A very insightful person, I'm guessing.
Thanks, man.
Don't get EL started. I read for him too. He tells me about the hurtful comments.
Let's take a quick poll of people who are here. Is it really necessary for you to enjoy a book to have that action come out in the first frickin' page right away? I mean, a brand new fantasy series, is that even a reasonable expectation?
I would say not something action, but something interesting has to happen to pick people.
Oh, man, dude, fucking kill me.
I think that you can start off slower and you can introduce characters and thoughts. Thank you, Bo. I think you can start off a series a little bit slower, introducing characters. I think there has to be promises made and progression on those promises. So whether that's like just trying to find out this little thing about a character, or trying to understand a relationship they may have, or something about the world, something needs to be progressing. It doesn't have to be as dynamic as a explosion or a fist fight or something like that, but it can just be some kind of momentum that's pushing the reader forward and really grabbing their attention. That's how I think about it.
So, I do want to go back and just warn you both, because I wrote 4 books in my series, and by the 4th one, I was ground to dust, and it just took 15 months and struggled, and I was like, and they said, write something else, refresh your memory, So I wrote Haley Traveler, which came out last year, and then I started another series that I put aside, and then I started another sci-fi series that I'm going to publish this summer. And then I have the sequel to Haley 2. I have this other sci-fi series I'm going to do, and sooner or later I will get back to my fantasy series where I've written 4 out of 7 books. But I'm at the point now where I'm like, I'm going to have to go and listen to the first 3 on audiobook, which probably will encourage me to get the 4th one on audiobook, because I hate reading anymore, so that I know what happened, so that I can write the 5th book in the series. So that is the danger, is that you'll just get spread out. Katie Andrews is like, oh yeah, finish series. Yeah, I keep saying I'm going to, and then I start a new one. So just beware. I mean, I like what I'm writing now, because I can flip back and forth from space stations to druids. But
Mike Fletcher said something very similar. He started 3 different series, just the first book of each, and then kind of was doing a lot to try to make it all work. I might just start with 2. Maybe you'll start with 2, bouncing back and forth.
I mean, it does get a little confusing, certainly. And like Mike said, I'm going to have to go back and reread some stuff just to kind of get an idea. It's like, if nothing else, just tone, right? Because when you set off on your new book, you obviously don't want to have the same kind of tonality of it. Hopefully, I don't know. I mean, if it's not interesting, Mike probably wouldn't have noticed the tonality of it. So
I'm glad that you're not bitter and that you're confident.
I'm not taking any of this personally, not at all.
So, Andrew Wizard and I have a competition for who DNFs a larger percentage.
Yeah.
And I mean, he reads way more books than me, but the percentage is about the same. If I'm not vibing with it, I'm like, you know what, I'm old. I don't have time to read a bad book. And so I just move on to something else.
Tips and tricks for continuity.
Yeah, what do you do, James?
For me, a lot of it is just like constantly reading your own stuff and having to like dig back into it. I also have notes on a lot of different things. The difficulty I have continuity with is like, how did I spell this made up word? How like did I capitalize this thing? That's the thing that I have to keep on looking back for. But
what do you write in?
What?
What do you write in?
I write in Word.
Just add the thing to the dictionary.
I do that.
So it doesn't have the little line under it when you spell it correctly.
But you know, I'll still make mistakes on capitalization and things like that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I've lived with Kalo and his story, and I've known where it's gonna go since that must have been 2019. So I've been in this story for a little while. I've been thinking about it for a long time. I have so many notes and so many things to keep in line. So it comes back to, it's probably a little bit easier that I don't have multiple series going on at the same time. That I've just been focused on this. Maybe I'll screw it all up if I start adding more stories into the mix.
Yeah.
And you know what? You can just hope that you have fans that read it that closely that they will catch it for you.
Oh, they will.
Yeah. I mean, I see people making like these fan theory videos about King Killer Chronicles and all of that. I'm like, it must be interesting to have fans so dedicated that their channel was born around trying to be your biggest fan and think about the theories that go into your book and what's going to happen. That must be a wild experience, and also kind of unnerving because you have to please them and all of their thoughts, but also trick them and get them to be surprised, even though they've spent years thinking about what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
I could edit that sentence that you just said and make it a lot shorter to just say, it must be really cool to have fans, period.
You must have
step one. But no, you're right. I mean, that would be really weird to have, you know, it would be really neat to go to a Comic-Con one day or something and see somebody cosplay as one of your characters. I think that would be like the coolest thing ever. Right. But
so I told the story before, but I don't think James has heard it. So I'm telling it again.
Okay.
I was at a Comic-Con and a guy was all dressed up in like steampunk or something. And he stopped and he looked at me. He went, and his eyes got real big and like came running over. He's like, "Oh my God, I've been looking everywhere for you. You're the best author I've ever read." And me being me, without skipping a beat, I go, "You need to find better authors." First thing out of my mouth.
To read more.
So yeah,
that confidence is great. I thought the twist of the story was going to be he confused you for somebody else, but no, he just loved your writing that much. That's amazing.
And I was like, that can't be true.
You had just come from the edible table, so you know it's anybody's guess.
They have full tables of edibles at Comic-Cons?
I went to one in Vermont, and yeah, they had a dude sat there, and he just yeah. You got your Legos, you got your pop figures, you got your edibles. You know, it's a different kind of vibe.
I'm gonna be going to my first con, World Con, this summer.
I will be there.
It will be great to meet you there. But yeah, I've never been to a con before, and something that I've really wanted to do. It's just so expensive, especially if you're traveling far. And I have 2 young kids, so like I'm very thankful for my wife for being like, yes, you can go, because then she's going to be stuck with a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, and that's not fun.
And she's not going to let you forget it either.
Yeah. I mean, I took the kids while she went to Aruba with her sorority sisters, so hopefully that balances out a little bit.
So she gets Aruba and you get Seattle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Both wildly exotic and sought after destinations.
Yeah, I mean, you should have Comic-Cons around you. I mean, Boston does some big ones, and I'm sure Hartford must, right?
Yeah.
And
I just need to start trying to do that. I think part of it has been, I felt like to do a table or something like that, I would need a full series together, because I would feel weird, especially if it's just one book.
One book is hard. Don't do one book.
One book is difficult, but even if you have three and they're all this, and it's your complete series, that's great. But what you'll find is a lot of people will just buy one book anyway.
Yeah.
Right? And they'll buy it because they know if they like it, they can get the next two right away.
Yeah.
But you'll also find people who will just say, all right, I mean, I'll just grab all three while I'm here. So yeah, cool. One, it's really difficult to make the finances work on one book.
Yeah. Do you have hardbacks, James?
I do. Yeah, so I have paperback and hardbacks. Yeah.
I mean, you could totally do now it's a completed series, the trilogy plus the novella. You could easily do one now and make. I consider I have to make 3 times what the table costs back to break even. Basically, that's my rule of thumb, and I think you could totally do that. Just be authentic and be engaged. Don't be staring at your phone and making people have to. Excuse me, no, I want to throw money at you. But yeah, you can easily
do that. Being aloof,
mysterious,
yeah.
Yeah, or you could go the other way and bring like an old Underwood typewriter or something. And in our town, the farmers market, there was some kid getting a liberal arts degree, I'm sure, sat out there with a typewriter, and a little card on the typewriter said, "I will write you a poem for $10." And it's like, oh, I kind of wanted to punch him.
That's a steep price tag for a poem.
What's that?
That's a steep price tag for a poem.
But he had his manual typewriter, so I'm sure it was very deep.
Yeah.
And maybe it was. I don't know. I'm being an old dick. But so you can absolutely do it. You don't need to bring a typewriter.
Yeah.
People would appreciate it if you did not, as a matter of fact.
Well, I had at one of the tables next to me in one of the shows, the girl, she brought a manual typewriter and she just put paper in it and she got it all ready. And then she didn't try to sell her books really. She just walked around in costume the whole time. But people kept coming by, and especially kids were like, how do I use this? And they just touch the key and I'm like, no, pound it. And they're like, I'm like, no, that's not enough. And I'd have to show them. So I spent half the time showing them how to use a manual typewriter and sold no books. But, these are things you learn not to do.
They walk away going, wow, that dude was old.
Did you also put like a rotary telephone on your booth?
That's right. Have it ring every now and then.
When I told them, I was like, these are called the paper bale rollers. When I was in high school, we had to learn that. I don't know why. I've never even thought about that until now. But this is called the platinum. And I'm like, why do I know this? I mean, there are brain cells dedicated to this. Why can't I have something fun instead?
It's a sad reality. We all have too much trapped in our heads that we don't need.
Yeah, that's why we're here, to help you get it out. That's no reason that should just pollute your head when we can help it pollute everybody's head.
Exactly.
And by the way, everybody, if you're watching us on the Twitter machine, come over to the YouTube machine and click the like and subscribe button, because we lost 2 subscribers and Mike's feeling bad about it. So just come over. You don't even have to watch again. Just go hit subscribe and then send it to your friends and tell them to subscribe. And we'll all be happy, because
start a chain email.
What's that?
Start a chain email and say, if you don't send this to 10 friends, then you'll have a horrible life. Just guilt people. I think that we can berate the people that left. They're obviously bad people if they unsubscribed.
Man, I tell you what, you can't trust anybody these days.
So. Let's see. I was going to say something. I don't know what it was. Anyway,
sure it was profound.
It was very important. So, are we ready to do the new and improved Bald Dome, or at least new Bald Dome?
I heard there's a new and improved Bald Dome. That's very exciting.
No. I said new. Improved is in the up to other people to decide. But
have you done this before, James?
I can't remember.
I don't think so, but I did remember you were on your second book when you came on here, because I remember the first one was Felice Ortiz, and then you're like, and I couldn't afford him again.
You must have never done it, because certainly you would have remembered such an experience as the Bald Dome.
I would have.
So what we're going to do is we're going to get you to pick a character. So either Kalo or Tayan, I'm guessing.
Okay.
And we want to learn more about them, but we don't want you to give us spoilers. So we're going to transport them to a new place, and I have 30 new locations. So I'm not even going to roll die. You're going to have to give me a number. Okay. And then they're going to get a magic potion that they don't know what it does. And then you get a choice between a regular item or a weapon. And if you choose a regular item, you get a regular creature that you encounter. If you choose a weapon, you get a fantasy creature. We'll set the scene and say, okay, this is what happened. What happens next? Go. And then you finish the story for us.
Okay. Does he get like all of his abilities and things like that?
So the rules of your world hold sway, but they don't get to take any weapons with them. They're just in a tunic or whatever. So let me roll some dice here. And
does he have some godlike power we need to know about now?
I don't know if Kalo's power would mean a whole lot in another world, because he can steal other people's magic. But I don't know if that still works in another realm.
Well, there's no other people here usually, so it doesn't matter.
So you have to pick a number between 1 and 30, James, for the inaugural Bald Dome 2.0.
I'll go 27.
27. Okay.
Fine number. Fine choice.
Okay.
I have no idea.
So, and who is it Kalo or is it Tayan?
I'll go with Tayan because she has some gifts that might work here.
Okay. So Tayan has been transported to a verdant citadel. Vines crawled over the stone walls of the ancient fortress, weaving through windows and battlements. The sound of trickling water resonates from hidden fountains, and colorful parrots are nested among the crumbling towers. In overgrown vaults, emerald-encrusted swords and elven-crafted circlets lay hidden beneath tangled roots, guarded by jade panthers that prowl in the shadows.
Okay.
Now, that's not enough. We're going to give you another creature besides, the jade panthers. So that is where she's at.
Okay.
What is your favorite color, James?
My favorite color is purple.
So she has a purple effervescent potion in a beaker with a stopper. She has no idea what it does, but it is 100% effective. Whether she uses it on herself or on an adversary, it's 100% effective. You have no idea what it does.
I don't know how helpful that is, but okay.
And so now you get to pick, does she want a common item or does she want a weapon?
So if she gets a common item, she gets a common person to fight. She gets a weapon, she gets a mystical creature.
She gets a fantasy creature, yeah.
I'll go a common item then.
Okay, so she has an extra pair of leather shoes.
Okay.
Are they her size at least?
Sure. Or they can be clean shoes. This is up to James. He can fill that in.
Okay.
So then, since she chose that, I really need to change the animals up. She's in this verdant citadel with the jade panthers and all that crap. And lo and behold, as she's looking there, like thinking I can get some treasure, she reaches down, and lo and behold, there is a black mamba right beneath her. So it's, of course, calling back, getting ready to strike. She puts her purple potion in to block it just so she can take a step back. She's like 6 feet away from it now. She has her pair of shoes. She has her potion. And the mamba, they are, kind of aggressive. So it is coming at her. What happens next? And I should tell you, if you want us to roll to determine, I will roll, but I never roll above a 10. So
you will die.
Is her goal to fight this thing or just to get away?
You tell us, what is she like? This is what
it is now your scenario, James.
Yeah,
what's going to happen?
What she would do.
We have had a lot of people kill the creature. I think we've had a couple of people get killed by the creature. We've ended in tea parties before. We have had fights go so badly, thanks to Mike's abysmal rolling ability, that both parties just decided they could be friends.
Okay.
It's all you.
Well, I think the easiest thing here is Tayan is what we call a shadow dancer. She can call on the powers of the shadows and draw them in any way she would like to. And so she's gonna pull the shadows towards her and drape herself in shadows so that the Black Mamba can no longer see her. It will still be able to sense her, of course, because of its sense of smell and all of that. And I don't know what the hell, she doesn't know what the hell this potion does. So she's very much a person that is kind of fly by the seat of their pants and making quick decisions. So she's just going to throw the damn potion at the Black Mamba, hoping that it does something good to distract this thing. And I think she wants to see what's going to happen with this potion.
Okay, well, it's something good, definitely, for us at least. It is the Frostbite Essence Potion. So the liquid allows the drinker, or in this case, the snake who gets covered in it, to project icy breath and become resistant to cold for an hour. So now it is breathing icy breath at you.
Oh, great. Well, in that case, Tane's going to try to get the hell out of there. Covered in shadows. She is pretty lithe and pretty fast, but now we have a Black Mamba who also spits ice.
Yeah, watch this, James. Hey, Mike, roll the snake to hit her with an ice projectile, a 14.
Or better.
Oh no, well, she's hidden in shadows, a 16. You need a 16.
8.
Okay. Well, she gets away from the ice projectiles. I think then she's just gonna book it the hell out of there. Hopefully, you said it's like a vine encrusted citadel. She's gonna head to the closest stairs and start moving up, where it's gonna be harder to slither.
So you're not. She's not in any way interested in the treasure that's half buried. She just wants to get away from the snake.
Yeah, Tan's lived the whole life of poverty, and the biggest thing that she's really been able to get in her life has been some good food. She doesn't really care much about riches. She cares more about her culture and her people and being able to survive. So her survival instincts are definitely going to kick in.
Okay, so
unless this creature wronged her, and then she would go after vengeance. But it's just a creature.
A lot of really kind of almost pacifistic fantasy people these days. You're probably the fourth one in the last 2 months who's been like, well, they really don't want to hurt anybody. The fuck they don't. Why not?
Hey, Ro.
Oh, she wants to hurt a lot of people, but the people that have wronged her.
Ro, just for you, Joe here. This is what his character would do.
Well, Rohan has superpowers.
Yeah, I know.
Can a snake even penetrate Rohan's skin?
Probably not.
Well, I mean, also, Rohan probably has more than a pair of leather shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I forgot to utilize that really useful tool.
Let's not forget that little limfac in her.
Yeah, maybe she throws the shoes at it too on the way out.
You know what? Just for fun, are they like spiked heel shoes, Mike?
I was thinking more like leather moccasins, but I'm open. It's James's story. It can be whatever.
What kind of shoes are they, James?
They are 80s go-go boots with the spikes on the side.
Nice.
So they would hurt the snake if they hit it, right?
Yeah. Let's use that.
So now this is Mike rolling again. So one of two things is going to happen. It's going to kill the snake, or you're going to get hit by a boot somehow. So go ahead, Mike.
What am I shooting for?
Let's just see what you get.
16. Look at that.
Ooh.
Hey.
I would say you at least slow it down.
Okay. I think Tane's getting away here. So yeah, Tane's climbing upstairs. Tane's trying to get away as quickly as she can. Throws the shoes, hits the snake, slows it down a little bit, dodging little ice flares or whatever they're called, and really trying to make a break for it. when she feels she gets far enough away, blending into the shadows and kind of just disappearing from all sight.
All right, Mike, 10 or better, she gets away.
1.
You do not disappoint, Mr. Molman, not at all. So she falls down the stairs, I guess.
Okay. She falls down the stairs, slips outside of the shadows, becomes completely visible with a 1, of course. Probably twists her ankle. She tears a hole in her own boots because, you know, it's a 1. And she could now use the boots that she threw, but too late.
Well, she only threw 1, right?
I get so she
We'll
puts
give
on
you
the
the
other
other one.
boot and now has 1 80s platform like go-go boot and 1 regular leather boot and is kind of running lopsided.
That'll throw the snake off.
Yeah. It's all about zigging and zagging now.
It's a strategy.
Oh, Mike, you do not disappoint, man. You really don't.
And she can still manipulate the shadows, so she wraps the snake in shadows now. So she can see completely well. She wraps the snake in shadows and is moving away as fast as she can with her awkward gait.
So what does it do to the snake if she wraps the snake in shadows?
It manipulates. It distracts his vision. The snake can't really see. So still only going by sense of smell or whatever senses it has beyond that.
Okay. So do these jade panthers come into the story at all, or are they off?
I assumed they were just jade statues. Are they actual panthers that are made of jade?
Doing my extensive work for this, I asked ChatGPT to come up with a scenario and then to add fauna and treasure. So this is the fauna it came up with was jade jaguars. So,
or even jade jaguars.
Yeah. So there's just some nice cars with some jade tint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she
Jump in the car.
She hops in a jade jaguar.
Runs over
It
the
doesn't
snake.
work very well because it doesn't have a local mechanic that can actually work on a jaguar. But it still, still goes.
Okay. I think she makes it then.
Yeah,
There you go.
If nothing else, she should be absolved of her sins and be led away.
Yeah.
Should be louder.
Oh.
British Racing Green, like a mini.
You're asking the hard hitting questions, Joe.
We have no place.
I'll have
here.
to explore it in a 4th book now.
There you go. And you call it a helix, and then you can just write as many books as you want, and it's just another term on the helix. Yeah.
We can do that. I'll throw her in space. She'll do well in space.
Yeah.
I, for
Not
one,
many
look
shadows in
whatever
space, I
is
guess.
next, James.
What?
I look forward to whatever is next after your last book comes out June 24th.
Thank you.
So, James, I don't pay attention often. So this next series, is it going to be in the same world or is it a different world? Did you tell us this?
Different world inspired by the show Arcane.
Don't know
going to be much bigger in terms of scope and scale, exploring many different cultures, cities, godlike beings, different kinds of magic systems. Going to be a little bit more complex and bigger scale. The Malitu series is complex in its own way, but it's more complex in its interpersonal issues and interpersonal connections and that intimate kind of feel of a book. The complexities here, hopefully the character work will still be complex and interesting, but I also want to build out this very grandiose world around it and continue to have increasing stakes throughout the series.
You think that's going to be difficult to do? to make something purposely more grandiose and longer?
I think the difficulty will be not having too huge of a page count. Because I'm not necessarily interested in writing an 800-page book. But I want to start out with something that's a little bit smaller, that's a little bit more, has a feel of like a Mistborn book 1 in terms of being enclosed in a fantasy city, and then build it out from there. You're right, Joe. I need to have flatter, less complex characters. Can you teach me, Master?
So, James, I do have a question for you. It's been a bad couple months for me, but there's only one right answer to this question, and people keep getting it wrong. They keep choosing Bro's answer.
I thought we were going to get away with it.
So here's what I want you to consider. You're going down the main street of your city. You're in a saddle. Because you're forced to go. It's fantasy. Okay. So you're in a saddle. Now, this saddle can either be on a T-Rex or a Griffin as you go down the main street of your city. Which one do you choose and why? There's only one right answer.
It's a Griffin. I would want to fly.
This is my favorite part of the show. I can't lie.
I mean, why do I want a lizard with bad arm reach, like, and can't really see well? Am I gonna? I feel like if I was on a T-Rex, I'd have to shine a flashlight just to like keep its vision going well and point it at the right things. A Griffin
like a cat with a laser
more
pointer.
Intelligent. Yeah, Griffin's more intelligent, can fly. Actually can reach beyond its nose, which is nice. I think that I'd go with a Griffin.
You and 95% of the people he asked this question to.
See, and when I think of it, all I think of is the T-Rex is picking up the car in front of me that's really bugging me and just throwing
what arms?
With its mouth.
Oh, with its mouth. Okay.
And then just throwing it into a building over there because that's a fake building, so it doesn't matter. And then just all the annoying drivers get pushed out of the way because the T-Rex will clear the road for me. This is what
I am getting a sense that we need to start a therapy session right now. You have some underlying rage issues that apparently revolve around being on the road. We need to talk through these. Who hurt you, Mike?
I live in Virginia, where everyone has to be in the left lane.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Even the semis. I followed a semi for like over 28 miles in the left lane down I-81 once. It's like, come on, man, you've got to move.
You're just building community out there. You're hanging out with the semi driver, having a good time.
But
if you had a Griffin, you don't have traffic.
You could fly over all of that and it wouldn't matter.
Oh, but I like the vengeance.
James, don't worry, man. You are absolutely right. Your answer was correct.
Yeah.
Easily more than 90% of the people he has asked this question to have chosen the Griffin. It's not even close.
I also feel like a Griffin is easier to feed. Like, how am I going to feed a T-Rex? Other than the victims of your vengeance, apparently.
Exactly.
Have to go through and pick him out of the cars with his giant teeth.
You're going to have the whole police force just tracking you down and the army because you're killing in mass numbers with this T-Rex.
Yeah, but then I'll just announce where I'm going to go and when, and they can just clear the street, and then everyone's happy.
It is a fantasy.
It is a fantasy, yes. Clear streets in Virginia with no annoying drivers. I know.
Yeah.
Unless it's 3 a.m., it's never going to happen.
I'm going to go with James and say you need help.
We can turn this into an intervention.
That's right.
We're all here because we love you, Mike. Bro, do you have a letter to read?
Where did I put it? Dear Mike, get bent. The gang.
Hey, EL is on my side. And just public service announcement, if EL says he's going to write a story and you're going to be the main character, think long and hard before you say yes.
Yeah, that's a trap.
Is your main character on a T-Rex?
Sadly, no. But I do want to write. I did put it out on Twitter that I wanted someone to write the longsword dinosaur, is like, even the kid story or whatever, and I would buy that book if that's the name, longsword dinosaur, and T-Rex with a sword in his hand. Yeah, I want somebody to write this story.
I don't think your in-world physics are going to work very well, because those measly arms, in order to have a sword long enough for the dinosaur to wield, it would not be able to lift that thing.
It's a two-handed sword for the T-Rex, clearly. Because what else is it going to do with its hands anyway?
Better hope its opponent is moving around a lot.
Well, with that little piece of interest,
yeah,
Friday, Mike will be here probably by himself. Maybe I'll be here. Don't know. I'll be driving home from Northern Virginia. But we are with Nicholas Fuller again. He's coming back to see us again at 7 p.m. Friday. And then what do we got after that? We got
that's next week.
22nd is a book launch with Tori Tekken.
Yep.
Okay.
So, yeah. So we got some good people coming up, but none will, be nearly as good as James, even if he did choose wrong.
I'm interested to see what Nick and Tori choose. How many people choosing the Griffin will it take for you to admit you're wrong?
Oh, that will never happen.
It should have happened long ago. It's just we would have to do now.
So James, I have 12 years of Catholic school that I went through. So it took the Catholic Church 500 years to apologize to Galileo. So I'm following down that path. So I will be long dead before I will ever apologize.
According to some Catholics, the dinosaurs haven't been gone for more than 6,000 years. So
see,
you may have had that opportunity, or at least some of your ancestors may have had the opportunity to ride a T-Rex.
Yeah, sure.
That's where it's coming from.
Yeah,
I think at the very least, Mike, what your headstone should look like. You should just make it a big T-Rex mouth, and his little tiny hands are holding a placard that says, "Here lies Mike."
I was going to go with, I told you I was sick, but I like this better.
Yeah. I can see it now. It'll be beautiful.
James, your last book in the series, your third book of the trilogy, June 24th, everyone.
Yeah.
So go pick that up, and if you don't have his first two books, go pick those up. You want to throw those up again real quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for the plug. No Heart for a Thief, No Safe Haven, and then this prequel novella is Don't Bloody the Black Flag.
All right. Well, thank you, James, for joining us, and you all have a lovely day tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah.
So now it's time to wave awkwardly.
Thanks everybody for joining.